So anyways, let's go ahead and I'll start on this assignment. So this was the worksheet, graphing quadratic equations from of all forms. Basically, it's the same thing that we did last week, so I didn't put a new video lecture on it. But I did want to go over some of the problems here just to refresh your memory and help you along if you're stuck. So we're going to follow the directions that are here. But one of the things that I said in the directions in the teams when I posted the assignment was make sure you put the vertex in there in the middle somewhere of your table. It doesn't actually say to do the vertex in there, but it definitely needs to be in your table. And if you're just following the steps in order, you might not get the vertex in the table. All right, so the first thing is to find the y-intercept. And to find the y-intercept, there's a couple ways to think about it. You know that the y-intercept is when x is 0, so you can plug 0 in here. Or if it's in standard form, like it is in this equation, the y-intercept's always this last number here. So the y-intercept will be, in this problem, 0, 3. 0, 3. Right? And then factored form, we're just going to factor that. So let's go ahead and write, I'll write y equals. So we want to think of two numbers that multiply to give us 3, but add to give us 4. And so that's pretty easy, x plus 3 and x plus 1. So it multiplies to give us 3 and adds to give us 4. And so then the solutions are, if we take each one of these and set them equal to 0, what would we get? Well, that's pretty easy to see. I'll go ahead and set them equal to 0, but you don't have to even set them equal to 0 because it's going to be the opposite of what's in these values here in the factors. Because I have to subtract 3 from both sides, so that's going to give me x equals -3, and then I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides, and that's going to give me x equals -1. So these are the opposites of what's in the factors. And then taking those solutions and making them x-intercepts, well, these are on the x-axis, so they are x-intercepts. So it's -3, 0, and -1, 0. Those are the two x-intercepts. Let's go ahead and work on the vertex before we do the table here. I'm going to go ahead and plot some of these things into the graph so we can kind of see what's happening. So I've got 0, 3. This is so tiny. Boy, I think they're counting by 2s. Yeah, each square is 1. So 3 would be right here. And then we've got -3, 0, and -1, 0. Okay. So we've got this parabola kind of over here. The vertex is going to be in between the two x-intercepts, as we talked about before. So if my x-intercept is at -3 and -1, then the vertex has to be in between them because there's that line of symmetry that goes in the middle of a parabola. And so the vertex x coordinate, oh, my cat is playing here. Hey. Oh, anyways, the vertex is going to have an x coordinate of -2. So I know that it's -2 there. And to figure out what the y coordinate is, I have to plug in -2 in for x here and figure out what the y value is. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. -2 squared plus 4 times -2. Sorry, my cat is shading the document camera. Bernard. Plus 3. Okay, so I've just plugged in -2 here and -2 here and plus 3 here. All right, you guys still with me? Can you say yes or no if you're still with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so then we say -2 squared is 4. 4 times -2 is -8, and then plus 3. Put all those together, what do we get? What does that equal? Anybody want to tell me?
It's -1, I think.
Right, -1. So the vertex is at -2, -1. -2, -1 is right there. So I know I've got, oh. This is my cat Bernard, who likes to be in the center of attention. So you can see a paw there. He's a tabby. Anyways, all right, where was I? X-intercept. Sorry, line of symmetry. So we've got this matching point over here. 1, 2. All right, so that's going to give me my problem. I'm going to go ahead and put these points in the middle of my table, see if I can get them. So the vertex, I'm just going to say right here, somewhere about the middle, -2, -1. And so this is just writing it as a point. The point that's to the left of that is -3, oops, 0. The point that's to the right is -1, 0. Those are my x-intercepts. Then I've got another point over here, 0. What did we determine that was? 3? Yeah. And so then going backwards, -4 would also be 3. Remember how parabolas kind of follow that pattern? They're the same values, y values on either side. That's that symmetry again. So let's do one more point on either side. If x is 1, I'm going to go here and then go back 1 as well and say -5. We'll just do one more on each side of the vertex. Okay, so when x is 1, I'm going to plug in 1 here. So 1 squared is 1, plus 4 times 1 is 4. So 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So that's going to be 8 there and 8 there. I'm going to go ahead and put these points into the graph. 2, 4, 6, 8. And then 2, 4, 6, 8 right there. And then we have this nice parabola. Okay, so in this graph here, let's see, where are we? Okay, so if you don't fill in the whole table, that's okay. As long as you've got, 5 to 7 points is fine. And then we're going to make each one of these a point. -3, 0, -4, 3, and -5, 8. And then we have a few extra things to do. The vertex form is just taking this vertex and putting it into the equation here. And then we also need to find the a value like you did last week. Okay, so first let's do the vertex. So I plug in x minus the x coordinate of the vertex. So it's x minus h. Here's our h. So minus a -2 would be +2. And then it's plus k. K is the y coordinate of the vertex. So it's just the same value that k is. K is -1, so I'm just going to write -1. And then I want to find the a value. So I can take any point to figure out what the a value is. Let's do the y coordinate. Actually, the a value is going to be the same a value as over here, so we don't even have to do any math. If you look over here in the original equation, the a value has to be the same in both equations. And since it's 1 over here, it's going to be 1 over here. And so we'll just drop that off because you don't have to write it in if it's a 1. That makes it a little bit nicer not to do that math. And then max or min value, what do you guys think? Gabe, since Kira answered the other question, is this a maximum value or minimum value? And then what's the value, do you think?
Minimum.
Right? Minimum, and then we'll say at, the value would be the y coordinate of the vertex. So minimum at, what's the y coordinate of the vertex?
-1.
Right, -1. So we'll just say -1. Okay, so kind of the same thing we've done before, just step by step putting it together, putting the different forms together as well. So we've got standard form is where we started, factored form is here as well, and vertex form. 2 is just like that. It's kind of factored form. It gives you a standard form. You do the same thing. Let me see if there's another one over here that's in a different form. Let's take a look at the other side. The other side is kind of answering questions based on all these repeated processes. So once you've done 2, 3, and 4, you can look, and in some of these questions, you'll probably already know the answer to. He's the star of the show here today. Of course, I don't know if you have cats, but they like to be right in the middle of everything.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to leave you to answer these 6 questions that you can, because it's referring to the table, and you know, that's pretty straightforward. I do want to go down here to number, let's take a look at number 6. So suppose you're given the table to the right for this equation. From the table, identify the solutions, the y-intercept, and the vertex. So this is kind of addressing these first 5 questions, but we're going to go to this number 6. So the solutions, let's write this down. And we also want to find the y-intercept, and we want to find the vertex. So let's see if we can do that in here by just looking at the table. We don't even have to look at the graph. So solutions. Okay. Yeah, just a minute. Let me move you out of the way. Vertex, let's find the vertex. So let's look at this, what's happening in this table. We've got it going from -5 to 0. So it goes 3, then down to 0, then down to -1, 0, 3. Oh, this is very similar to the question that we just did. So looking here, where do you think we would see the solutions, either one of you? Another word for solutions are zeros. So that's a big hint. If you can find the zeros. But what zeros are we looking for? Are we looking for the x zeros or the y zeros?
Would we be looking for the x zeros?
No, actually, no. We're looking for the y zeros. We're looking for where this equation equals 0. So that's where y is 0. And so we're looking here at where y is 0. Those are the solutions. So it's going to be -2 and -4 are the solutions. And then the y-intercept is when x is 0, right? It's on the y-axis, x is 0. So what would that be, Gabe? Do you want to tell me? You still there? So where's x 0? Okay, when x is 0.
Okay.
What was that?
What was the question again?
Where is on this table? We want the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is where x is 0. So what would that be?
8.
Yeah, right. 8. Okay. And then the vertex, can you think about what's happening in this graph and figure out where the vertex might be? Either one of you. You see it's going, if we look at just what's happening with the y, so it starts at 3 on the, so you'd be up here at 3, and then it goes to 0, and then it goes to -1, then it goes to 0 again, then it goes back up to 3. So which one of those points is the vertex?
I thought I knew the answer, and now I don't.
Okay, so I'll go through that again. So it's I'm looking at the y values. It starts at 3, it goes down to 0, then it goes to -1, then it goes back up to 0, and then it goes up to 3 again. So the vertex is this lowest point here. It's this where it's going down to the lowest and then up to the highest.
So -3, -1.
Yeah.
I thought that was the answer, and then my mind's like, but what if it's not?
That's all right. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's kind of what you're looking at when you're answering questions 1 through 5 here. Where do you find those things in the table? So hopefully that'll help you. And then number 7 and 8 and 9 are kind of going backwards like we did in the end of last week's assignment. So it says, I'm going to go to 8 here. I'm going to skip 7 and go to 8. It says, look at the graph to the right. What is the factored form? What is the vertex form? And what is the standard form? So let's do that together. So the factored form can be found by looking at where those zeros are, because the factored form and the zeros are opposites of each other. That's what I've talked about before. So if the 0 here is, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's at 4, and this is -2. Then the factors are going to be the opposites of those. So I'm going to write x plus 2 and x minus 4, and then I'm going to set it equal to y just to have it as an equation. You can do it in the other order if you want, right? Y equals, and then your factors, that's fine. So if I were to set each one of these equal to 0 and solve, then I would get -2 as one of the zeros and +4 as the other 0, and so those would be my zeros. Okay. Vertex form is finding where the vertex is, and so here's this coordinate down here. It looks like it's at -1, oh, +1, -10. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me try that again, because it says -10 here, but it might be referring to that bottom number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it's 9. So it's -9. It's 1, -9. So that's the vertex. And so I want to put that into vertex form. So I'm going to say y equals. The a is going to be the same as it would be up here. And if I were to multiply that through, it would just be x squared, no other number in front. So the a is 1. And then I want to say x minus the x coordinate of the vertex. So x minus 1 squared plus the y coordinate. Whatever that y coordinate is what's going to go right here. So it's -9. And that's vertex form. And then standard form is, you can find standard form by multiplying out either the top one or the bottom one, and it doesn't matter which one you multiply out. So I'm going to show the work here. I'm going to take the top one. I think it's just a little bit easier to multiply that out. And so I'm going to multiply x times x, I get x squared. X times -4, I get -4x. 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times -4 is -8. And so I get x squared minus 2x minus 8. I'm going to write that here. X squared equal, or y equals x squared minus 2x minus 8. That's my standard form. Did you guys follow that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so that's all of the problems I want to go over. The other ones are kind of similar to what we have gone over, so hopefully you can figure them out. Do you have any questions on anything of this or anything else that we're doing?
No.
Okay. How about you, Kira?
Not really.
Okay, well, since there's just the two of you, we won't play a game. Unless you want to play tic-tac-toe or something like that. Two-person game. All right, well, it's great to see you guys, or sort of see you guys, hear your voices and know that you're there. And you guys have a great rest of your day.
You
Okay,
too.
you too.
Bye-bye.